What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Tony, and today we're jumping into my review on this fucking movie that apparently came out in 2024. And dude, I had happened to find it on Shudder as like a new release. Somnium or Somnium, however the fuck you say it, written and directed by Rachel Kane, and what is her directing debut. Starring Chloe Levine, I believe, as Gemma, a girl with Hollywood dreams who moves to LA and works for an experimental like sleep study place, I guess, where they use technology to make dreams come true. I honestly have no fucking clue what this movie's about or why this and that happened. This movie truly was confusing as shit, dude, and I think it was marketed wrong. Just my honest opinion. This movie's supposed to be like a sci-fi horror flick, but I don't think this movie even knows what the fuck it is. I'll do my best to keep this movie review like spoiler free. I usually do, but there may be some things here and there. I'll warn you ahead of time. I mean, I really don't think you're going to want to waste your time on this movie anyway, but let's try it. So let's set the stage. Gemma leaves for LA in search of dreams, like the rest of us all. But she's doing that while dealing with like a bad breakup and isolation, as well as the fear of being rejected. And dude, it's very obvious from the beginning that this film was meant to be a device that explores the human mind and emotions, especially through like stress and anxiety. That should have been red flag number one for me, but I chose to keep going because if I'm being real, the concept had me. And let's be clear, I saw this on Shudder, I read the plot summary. Of course I was like, yes, this will be good. I'm in. Dude, this was clickbait. It was a clickbait strategy like no other. But anyways, upon taking the job, she learns how the technology works to feed the people these dreams that can make them come true, as well as how immoral the process is. Like even she questions the whole lead sleep text, like moral practices and method. Like she learns that it's really just a cash cow program, if you will. But aside from that, she begins to slowly become detached from reality. But all right, let's just jump into it. I have some positives, but they sort of feed into the negatives. So if I am jumping all over the place, my bad. First off, this movie suffers from the same fucking problem that almost 90% of movies suffer from. And that is like, it has a great plot. It is an awesome concept. For a horror film, it is also, like, it's beautifully shot, dude. Even the score, oh my god, do not get me started on the score. The score is just fantastic. It really is to die for if you're an old head like me. But the actors, I've never heard of. I'll just be honest with that. Never heard of them, but could have fooled me. I mean, dude, they were awesome. It has all the requirements for a good movie, but it's so fucking boring. The story is just not good when you like peel each layer back. This had all the promises, but when you see the execution, dude, it is just bland as shit. Call me an asshole all you want. This movie was about identity and isolation and rejection. There was like not one scene where the clinic she works at proves to be of any use to the story. And I would argue that you could take away the film's plot and it would make more sense if it were like a drama, I guess. A film about how this girl struggles. I do not understand why they made this backstory of her working at this like fucking clinic. I mean, when it really amounted to like nothing. This movie did not need to be a horror sci-fi flick. It could have easily benefited from being like a drama or really just a study of the human emotion that, you know, I went into this expecting a horror film. That's how it's marketed. There's maybe like two scenes where you get to see some of like some fucked up looking creature like in the clinic in the shadows, which is also never explained. There was no real reason for the whole like working at the sleep clinic part. That's what I'm trying to get at. There are even like flashback scenes that make no sense at all. They tell a story of her bad breakup, but what like does that have to do with anything, dude? Especially the sleep clinic, like that has nothing. It provides nothing. It just makes you feel like sad and sorry for her. Why this movie couldn't have just been like about a young chick and her struggles while at home makes absolutely no sense to me. That's what this movie is. And it sucks too because, like I mentioned earlier, it is a film that keeps you interested. It had my attention, even though it's fucking boring. You want to know why her boyfriend left her, even though it serves no purpose to the story. You want to understand why she is so afraid of the clinic, even though it is never explored. It looks amazing as a whole, but man, it is anything but that. Even the acting from Chloe Levine is like actually great. She does an awesome job, but when it doesn't matter at the end of the day, you kind of feel empty. It truly is sad because this film could have been amazing with all that they had at their disposal, but for some reason, the film's plot was just the backstory. I just want to know what the point of this movie was. I am clearly missing something because I watched all the way to the end, dude, and not one question I had was answered. The ending is also rushed too. You can tell they had this grand plan until the last 10 minutes. Everything comes like together very quickly, and it is almost like the film's tone changed for a fourth fucking time. At first, the film comes off as a drama. Then, when she takes the job at the clinic, it is a horror film. Then it's a thriller later, and then we are back to a drama at the very end, with a small like glimmer of hope after it turns out that Gemma is the hero who exposes everything. If you think everything I just said made absolutely no sense, welcome to the fucking party, because that feeling you just had from me explaining this movie is literally the equivalent to watching this movie. Go watch this movie drunk off your ass, and what I said will be like a third grade math problem. It's Sesame Street. I will end up making more sense for you than this fucking movie. This is for sure spoiler territory, so you might want to turn this video off at this point, unless I've convinced you and you just don't give a shit. Please stay, and don't waste 2 fucking hours like I did. There is a flashy Hollywood exec character here who sees something in Gemma and wants to lead her to fame, but nothing really comes of this. It isn't even explained why this dude hangs out and then makes a swift exit after Gemma offers herself to him. Like, again, what the fuck did that have to do with this movie? I get that she's afraid of rejection and she just wants to be on top of the world, but why is she fucking crying and asking him to hang out? And why does he stand there staring at her? Then he leaves after they talk for like 2 seconds. He says some shit about like how he's different because he'll take what he wants, unlike her. I am at a loss as to what the purpose of this character or scene was, because it is not explained, and she just goes back to work the next night. I was so confused, and I can definitely promise you that I was not drunk or high when watching this one. I wished I was, once it ended, of course. But another missed opportunity is the lead sleep tech that Gemma takes an interest in. Noah, played by Will Peltz, I believe is his name, or I hope I'm saying it right. This kid's got something, dude. Really brought skill to the table. I could tell right away that he wasn't who he said he was. Ironically, he's the best part of the movie for the whole 20 minutes that he's in this movie. But man, just like everything else, it amounts to nothing. Don't get me wrong, there is a point to his character, but they do very little exploring his character, to the point that when it all comes to a close, you feel like it was a sloppy explanation. This whole movie is sloppy, but it is weird when it has everything it needs to be good. That is the part I just do not get. You could have easily given his character more control of this vehicle and truly explored the aspect of a cat and mouse type film, but it seems like the character just existed because something will happen at the end that points to him, right? I don't know. I was just like, wow, that was dumb. I loved his character. The actor did great. I think that they did Noah dirty, if you ask me. He's the smoking gun here. He holds more power than we know. But oh, not really. I mean, I think it is fair to say that this film, well, the point of this film is to really explore themes of like anxiety and rejection, which I mentioned earlier. And that is fine, but you need an actual story to make this point. I understood what the intent was. I mean, it is obvious because they spent more time trying to get points across rather than build upon the story. There was less story here and more agenda. I wouldn't exactly say this movie is like a woke movie, but it does come off that way with how like driven it is to discuss anxiety and things of that nature that, like, in my opinion, the market's oversaturated with. There we go. But it doesn't have all the familiar symptoms of a woke movie, but at the same time, it feels like one. If that makes any sense. To put it nicely, maybe they really wanted to be woke. I really don't know. There is also little to no blood and gore in this movie, like at all. There is some, don't get me wrong, but it made everything feel so empty. Like I said, there are a few well done scenes that truly do tap into the horror. But just like the drama plot line in this movie, it goes nowhere and has no real meaning. Plus, you have a lot of background characters that they just exist. They work at this clinic. A lot of cardboard in a world full of meaning. And that is frustrating, dude. It is one thing for these characters to exist, but it is another to introduce them as important and then leave them there in the background doing shit to make them look like they make the scene flow better. I read online a lot of people are saying this movie is amazing. Some were confused like me, but there were more positive reviews than negative. So, I mean, there is that. But other than the editing being proficient, the sound being kick ass, like I said, the soundtrack is amazing, and the acting being done great, there is very little positive I have to say about this movie. I did not understand it at all, as I've been saying. I even tried rewatching it, and all it did was make me feel more irritated with the Gemma chick, dude. Not to mention, you can tell Chloe Levine has the looks. But for whatever reason, we chose to make her look as homely as possible here. Why? Shouldn't she look the part? Like, this is where I go on these long rants about how the industry is still trying to sell you this idea that looking sad and frumpy is supposed to be normal and attractive. But I'm the asshole because I ain't falling for it. I am not saying she is ugly. I just feel like we went out of our way to make her purposely look and feel average. No justice for a girl tracing her fucking dreams, like, at all. And before I rate this confusing ass experiment, I do have to add that the lighting in this movie is weird too, a weird decision, and at times it's a little too dark for my taste. You know how back in the day you were so excited to go see Hulk from 2003, and then the whole thing was so dark you couldn't even see it? It fucked with your mood, especially the last 10 minutes. Dark as shit. And that was the point here, I think, dude. But I don't know. I thought the TV brightness was like going down. Like maybe I was losing my mind. I would go check, dude. And nope, this movie's just dark. The lighting is just very, very dark. Maybe I should have said earlier that this movie is all looks rather than, I don't know. I mean, the poster art for the film had me. I thought this was going to be a kick-ass 80s throwback movie to some like sci-fi creature shit. Not at all, dude. I am going to rate Somnium or Somnium, however you say it, as a very simple, where can I get the last 2 hours of my fucking life back? In which I say as nicely as possible to the director, congrats, you're officially the first person to have a film that is rated so low on my channel. I typically review some shitty movies, but this one was just weird. It is not a bad movie, but I don't know what the fuck it is, and I didn't enjoy it. It's okay to have this feeling. All of the best parts and the scary ones are literally in the trailer. That should be what you can take away from this. If you're not sure about this fucking movie, honestly, just watch the trailer instead. That would be my honest advice to you guys, because the trailer I did not see. I just saw the poster art and went right into the movie. And then I watched the trailer because I was like, wait a minute, am I missing something? Am I the fucking idiot? Apparently a bunch of people think I am, but I just think this movie sucks, dude. It's not a bad movie, but dude, I don't know what it is. And it certainly wasn't for me, dude. Like, just my honest opinion. I want the last 2 hours of my life back. Never watching this movie again. Nothing positive to say about it other than, like I said, the acting's great. It has all these tools at its disposal. It chooses to do none of the things with it. It's just a movie that exists to tell you stories about people's emotions. There we go. That's literally how I felt about Somnium, however the fuck you say this movie. But have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know. Do you think that I'm just being a dick and maybe I'm missing something? Because I genuinely think that I could be missing something, but at the same time, I'm like, the fact that I have to really consider this is crazy to me. If I can't get it by the second time, I'm just giving up. So please hit that follow button. If you like this review and you want to see more reviews like this, make sure you go check me out on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble. Dude, we're everywhere now. But anyway, always remember, folks, to stay rad.